it's a little get you in, but
No worries.
Bryan, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good to be here.
All right, so we're gonna obviously we're not going to be talking about paying payroll taxes and canceling your QuickBooks Online subscription because our normal our normal participants of the workshop Wednesday are not with us today. But I wanted to have Bryan on because we've been working. When did we first meet, Bryan? It was a couple years ago.
Yeah, I'd say about 2 or 3 years ago, honestly. Scaling New Heights, I think, is where we met. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Now you have one of the more fascinating applications that I think I've ever seen in the space. So talk to us a little bit about what Automate is, like where it came from, and then we'll kind of dive into a little bit about what it can actually do.
Awesome. Yeah. So we started about 8 years ago. We started out in healthcare. So we did enterprise integrations. And we saw a need in the space to bring, enterprise integration features to the small business market. And so, my Uncle Jim, he's been a QSP for a long time. He introduced me to, the accounting space about 4 years ago. And, since then we've been focused on being the simplest way to do accounting automation on the planet, and with the ability to have enterprise features, which was what kind of Dan was talking about. All the current tools in the market can't support the different things that you need to do at an advanced level, and be able to automate more complex work that other tools like SaaSant, Transaction Pro, Zapier just can't cut it. Especially with accounting. People want their numbers to be right 100% of the time, and a lot of times, that you can't take a dinky tool like a little pocket knife and solve all your problems. You need a mid-market product that can cut down the tree, and that's kind of what Automate is.
Yeah, and I think one of the more fascinating things about your platform is how it kind of joins things together so that you don't have to know the coding, right? Like you take the coding out of it, but then for what you're familiar with as an accountant or bookkeeper or small business owner, it makes it a lot easier to kind of bridge the gap. Is that kind of the concept that you took with
Yeah,
what you created?
yeah. So we try to make our tool look exactly like the tool you're going to. So like for QuickBooks Online, the screen layout looks exactly like QuickBooks Online. So you don't have to go and be an engineer to build the integration and to do it yourself. Um, and so, the other things that it does, it also has the advanced features like aggregating the data and doing a lot of the cool stuff, but in a very simple user interface. Like once again, we just want to be the easiest way to do accounting automation, but we also want to support our clients with the features that they need to deliver a quality product to or quality experience for their enterprise, right? To be able to automate their work, and it's just to be automated, no touch, click of the button, and not have to like open up an Excel sheet, hack it a little bit, do this manual process because the tool is limited, and then pop it into another tool. It's supposed to be automated. That's what we do. We try to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah, and you when you came on the QB Power Hour, you talked about this concept of like using the Star Trek analogy of the universal translator. So that's kind of what your tool, what Automate is at its core, right? It's really just you know talking, taking from one tool, one app or one place, and being able to easily translate it to something else. I mean, is that the general idea?
Yeah, yeah. So like, I love Star Trek. Used to watch it when I was a kid, and they have that universal translator. So being able to take somebody that can't communicate, alien or whatever, and then be able to get them to be able to speak and be productive. And that's kind of what we do. You don't speak QuickBooks Online API. You don't speak those errors. There's like 161 different types of errors that you can have. The API is just going to throw an error that doesn't make sense to you, right? Doesn't make sense to you because it's like 401. You're like, what is that? You translate those error messages and say, hey, your credits and debits don't balance. Here's a video on how to fix it in Autymate tool. And then so we try to take that tech difficulty out of accounting automation. First off, people are building an automation, right? Second off, they're doing accounting, so that's scary, right?
Right. You kind of want your accounting to be accurate
Right.
in most cases, right?
Yes, yes.
It's
And so
it's not cookbooks, it's QuickBooks, right?
that's right. Yeah. So just being able to take that and make that simple, so that when you walk into a problem, right, it's not like walking into a situation where you can't understand anybody around you, and we kind of help translate that so it makes sense to a business user.
Right. So it's a and you mentioned a couple other apps that people might be familiar with using. What differs Autymate to to some of those other apps?
Yeah, just ring them. I can just list them out. So like Zapier, right? It's good at doing a simple one. Somebody enters this data over here, one row, and then it generates something one row over here, right? You add one row to a Google sheet, and it goes over here to create an invoice. Well, let's just go through that. Okay, so like, can you get all the line items of your invoice on that one Google Sheet row? No, you can't. It's usually an aggregate of data that you have to pull together. It might be in multiple tabs. It might be in one tab. Autymate can aggregate that data so that all the data may be in multiple rows, right? Multiple different destinations. So I could never get Zapier to do accounting because it's too simple for it, right? It can only do one line item, right? Most invoices have two line items. So how you can get the second line item on there? So you can't do that. The other thing it doesn't do is it doesn't tell you accounting errors. It doesn't explain accounting. It doesn't. It really sucks at accounting.
It just says that it failed.
It just says it. Typically, with a transaction, there's 12. Like, let's take an invoice. There's typically 12 different entities, like API calls you have to make in order to do an invoice. You got the payment terms. You've got the customer. You've got the products and services. You've got the header
Sales
items.
tax,
You got the line item. You got sales tax. All those items, Zapier only does the header and maybe one row. You can't do it. Autymate will automatically add the product if it doesn't exist, the customer if it doesn't exist, the product or service if it doesn't exist. It does that automatically. So it does 12 transactions. So you're trying to do that in Zapier. You got to have it. Oh, you got to write. It would literally be harder. It would take me hours, and I know what I'm doing, to try to get it to do just one invoice. Let's take, or you take Transaction Pro or SASAN. Let's take those, for instance. First off, our app's much simpler to use. It looks exactly like QuickBooks. It's not convoluted. And we have a lot of advanced features that you don't have in there. You can't write, like, if this value is this, then set it to this value. If the value contains bill, then set it to this value, or remove this this funny string. Like, let's say there's an asterisk in there. You don't want that going out to your customers, or it doesn't match your invoice method. You can do all that in Autymate, which opens the door for more of an enterprise integration experience, which is able to, Dan's issue. He couldn't solve that in Transaction Pro or SASAN because it doesn't support the enterprise functionality that you need to have in order to get the job done. So we're able to take those on. We also connect over 250 systems, and we're slowly rolling out more and more systems. Like, we're getting ready to do Salesforce to QuickBooks, and we're going to be adding more and more systems and putting those 250 systems that we have out there for you guys to experience. So, and so that way, we're the easiest way to do accounting automation. That's our goal.
That is the goal, right? And Bryan and I collaborated on a project. And it's going to actually be kind of illustrated this Friday on Firm of the Future. So, so keep an eye out for that article. But what I wanted to do is just kind of give a high level overview, and don't blink, because the Autymate it'll go too fast. what it is that we tried to do. So let me go ahead and quickly share my screen here. And it's over here. All right, should be able to see it now. So I have a few tabs over here. Here's my QuickBooks, and here's Autymate's website and Bill.com. So the issue was that we were trying to get some of the Bill.com, which you have to pay. If you're trying to integrate with QuickBooks, you have to pay for that with Bill.com, which is, I think now the pricing is like $55 a month just to get the information from Bill.com into QuickBooks. And if you're using it for both invoicing and the AP functions, then it's like $79. I mean, it's a lot just for that one integration into QuickBooks Online. So we have some invoices here that we want to get into my QuickBooks. So what I'm going to quickly do is export it real quick. I'm just going to choose this option of we decided to do it by due date, right? Which is just going to choose a few dates here. Export with filters. Fortunately, this doesn't take too long, right? Because it just processes that and in a few moments as it. There we go. All right, so this allows me to download it and save it as a CSV file. And then what we've done here in Autymate is we've created the automation. And to Brian's point, I just wanted to bring this up here. So basically what we're doing is we're turning this CSV into an invoice. And you can see the invoice looks like it does inside of QuickBooks, right? So it's got the product and service line right here. So if you want specific things mapped to a certain column, right, you don't have to try and figure out like where would that show up, on the invoice, right? So it's the field, right? Customers are in the upper left. So if I want that customer mapped, I just need to click on this little gear here and or click the drop down and find the appropriate column that's in that CSV file. So it's real easy to map one column to to what field, because if you know what you're doing in QuickBooks, you know what you're doing in Autymate. Because it's really just a matter of selecting it, and you can. I really like that you can search for it. You can search for the field there. But really, where it really gets to the power of what we were able to do is this particular product and service field. I can't scroll down. Darn it! Maybe if I do it that way. This is through the help of Autymate support. I was able to come up with a solution here to help map certain items or different items to this product and service field, which is not something that you can do in anything else that I've seen. So that's where the differentiator for me, right? So I'm not going to make any changes because we don't want to.
So Dan, quick question: what problem did that help you solve? Like, what did that case statement help you do?
Yeah, so
that you couldn't do anywhere else.
So what I would have to do before is I would have to download this CSV file, open it, and then manipulate the CSV file so that those item mappings were correct. So basically, I would have to go and copy and paste, from my QuickBooks to make sure that my items were mapped appropriately, because Bill.com doesn't care, right? Like it doesn't know what that is. And I don't even know if I did pay for the integration, what that would actually look like, right? Like with these invoices, the problem is that there's, here in the spreadsheet, there's probably, 50 different line items. Would it create 50 different invoices if I would have used that? I don't know. I wouldn't have wanted that.
Explain that too. So Autymate was able to aggregate the data, so you actually had it creating invoices exactly the way you want, right?
Yes. So I'm just going to. So the trigger event here is is uploading the CSV file to bring it in. And then what I really like here is you have this dashboard, and this guy here is really your if I'm looking at a speedometer on my car, this tells me how much faster I am going because here's my automations, how many rows were processed in the past, and then a calculation of how many hours that I've saved over time. And it gives you, and whoops, I'm sorry, I scrolled too much. It tells you, if it was successful, if it was not successful. But here it is, it's running, automatically, and okay, it hasn't finished yet. It's doing 83 rows in here. And let me go pop on over to the audit log inside of my QuickBooks. All right, it already created 3 invoices. And if I go and look at them, there's all my information of what it is. So you can see it created 1 invoice, based on its groupings, and with different products and services on it, so that I can track them appropriately. So all that took about, from start to finish, of even with me talking about it, about 5 minutes. Which before that, it would take me about at least a half an hour to manipulate the CSV file before bringing it in through something else. So really a huge time saver for me, because I can just download the CSV file, not do anything to it, automatically upload it, and then just wait, right? And it shows up. Now my next request would be, can we do this automatically without me having to download the CSV file? But that's another story. Save me that 5 minutes, but I think I can handle 5 minutes, Brian.
Gotcha. Yeah. And the good thing is that once you get that done, you can train anybody to do it. They don't need to know how to manipulate the CSV file. Just drag, drop, done. When we do build out integrations, like I'll give you an example. We did an integration that, obviously we met with the client and talked to them from like Bullhorn to to other systems like NetSuite and QuickBooks, where we're doing like 1,700 payrolls, and that's completely automated. And so we can work with people on some of their complex needs for custom integrations as well, which gives you guys the ability to get that off your plate. And Atlas, for instance, they had 1,700 employees, and they were working on a payroll the last till 2 a.m. every single night, and now it's fully automated, no touch, and the guy's like praising us up and down. You can watch the testimonial. So those are the kind of things we can automate as well. For companies.
Now we have some question from the folks that are watching. So right now it's QuickBooks Online only, but
yes,
right now you're actually working potentially doing this for desktop as well.
Yeah, right now we're doing all the point of sale systems to QuickBooks for UPS stores. So for QuickBooks Desktop. So we'll potentially might do a desktop, but we're also adding other integrations like Salesforce and other integrations that we currently support into our core product.
Yeah, I would. When I first saw this, I saw the huge potential in like creating, using this as like a data conversion tool from a variety of other sources. Mm-hmm. If you could set up these mappings ahead of time, you could just connect Xero to QuickBooks Online. Boom, it does the conversion for you, and then you're done, right? Like the possibilities of that is pretty phenomenal, and I'm looking forward to Brian to see where this goes for you.
Absolutely, yeah. We've been a lot of exciting things with this product. And the cool thing is, we started out in enterprise, so big businesses, and we're giving that kind of functionality to small and medium sized businesses. So which is powerful, because now you have the power to build the automation that you need to do the job without a lot of hacks and band-aids and just, if you want to pull your hair out, I mean, try using some of these other products out there. They're just not made to do things that are complicated.
Yeah, and mostly they speak in terms that the layman can't understand.
They speak Vulcan, right?
They speak those alien languages of queries that make sense to engineers, but not to somebody trying to create an invoice, from something that doesn't have the same terminology that's utilized. Can you tell that story about how in like 15 minutes you basically put replaced the labor of, I can't remember it was like a healthcare or something where you in 15 minutes well, you tell the story better than I do. So.
Yeah, so we obviously do projects for companies, right? Our system's kind of a low code, no code platform, which means I write one line of code and it can create an entire application, which would normally take 3,000 or 4,000 lines of code. And so we met with a hospital company. They had an issue, and this was many years ago, where they were trying to connect to SharePoint, their own proprietary system, and I think it was like maybe another system. I can't remember what it was. I just went in there and I just connected the three systems, and then I was like, okay, so here's the application you want to build. Wrote a few things in there and just a few lines of code, and bam, the guy said, "Wow, you just built an application that's similar to the one that we built. Took us 1.5 years with 14 engineers, and you built that in 15 minutes. That's amazing." Now, I'll tell you that we don't give all that tech to you guys, because some of it requires just like one line of code. But when we work with customers and stuff like that, we're able to configure those things quickly on our end, so we can provide features and functionality. Like for instance, the University of Louisville, we took 7 of their systems, integrated them into so they can see the exact productivity of every single physician. They give us a problem, we write a couple lines of code, and then they have a grid where they can actually do custom reports and stuff like that and fix data issues. So those are the kind of things we give for our customers when we work with them to provide them that experience where that would normally have taken days of development, we could be able to do in like 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about adding a Salesforce integration, that's a huge monstrosity to get those in. And I know the other applications that are out there that claim integration into QuickBooks with through Salesforce is gonna that's probably just gonna put them all to shame.
Yeah, that'd be exciting.
I believe in you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Proof's in the pudding. So.
Yeah. So, and again, thank you for joining us today on the workshop. Hopefully, we'll be seeing more of you as this continues to grow and makes headwaves or makes waves in this space in accounting automation in automation and integration. Wow.
Yeah.
Too many things.
And then, for those that want to try out we have a free trial of Autymate transactions. So just go to autymate.com, sign up for the free trial. Our baseline product's only $10 a month. And you can start putting your accounting on autopilot. Reach out to support. There's a little guy at the bottom right. You can chat with us anytime. Just ask us questions. We're there to help you. So.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week on another workshop, and have a great day.
Awesome. Thanks.